Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Additional details of Savannah Chrisley's airplane incident leaks. Chrisley Knows Best fans started off Friday morning by learning Savannah Chrisley had been kicked off a Southwest airplane for being an unruly passenger. Now, this wasn't a media outlet or rag magazine breaking the story. It was Savannah herself who took to her Instagram stories to explain what happened. She told her 2.7 million Instagram followers that she knew the story would get twisted and end up in media headlines anyway. So she wanted to make sure her side of the story was out there. While telling the story, Savannah admitted that she did call the flight attendant an **hole. Her exact words were that he didn't have to treat her like an **hole. She also admitted to hoping he found his true purpose in life. In fan chatter on social media, one fan admits they were at the same airport and came in contact with Savannah around the same time the incident was believed to have occurred. This fan admits they have a hard time believing the incident was entirely the flight attendant's fault and that Savannah wasn't to blame for any of it. The fan tells other Chrisley Knows Best fans that Savannah was talking to someone on the phone when they came into contact with her. She was reportedly very loud, with no regard or consideration for the people around her. The fan said that she was giving massive Todd Chrisley energy in the way she presented herself and the way she was talking on the phone. Changing the subject just a bit, the fan also admitted that it was a bit hard to recognize Savannah Chrisley in person because of the massive amount of fillers and cosmetic work she's had done to her face. In response to this, other fans thought it was wild that Savannah was hard to recognize in person with fillers. Other fans thought it was just sad that someone so young believed they needed to have so much work done to look beautiful. Ultimately, fans blamed her father for making her feel this way. For the most part, fans felt like Savannah was acting entitled as she told her story and believed she should have just checked her bag instead of arguing with the flight attendant. Moreover, most fans aren't too bothered by the flight attendant for getting frustrated with Savannah. Savannah Chrisley had always treated airports like neutral zones, fluorescent bathed arenas where the only thing that mattered was getting from A to B before the coffee turned cold. But on this particular morning, somewhere between the soft drone of gate announcements and the hard click of boarding pass scanners, she felt the weight of 1,000 curious glances settling on her shoulders. One person recognized her, then two, and by the time she found her window seat on the right-hand side of the plane, the cabin's attention had tipped toward her like a compass needle finding north. At first, the story was small enough to balance in the palm of your hand. A delayed takeoff, a scratchy intercom apology about an air traffic hold, a restless shuffle of passengers stretching legs, tapping screens, adjusting neck pillows. Someone halfway down the aisle uploaded a selfie captioned, "Savannah Chrisley on my flight. She's tiny IRL." And then the rumor mill shifted gears, as rumor mills do. The internet, with its infinite appetite, began to chew. The additional details, the ones that would leak later in mosaic tiles and whisper thin threads, didn't start as headlines, they started as feelings. The woman across from Savannah, in a denim jacket with the frayed collar, kept peeking over her paperback as though she might read the page of Savannah's face instead. A flight attendant, cheerful in that practiced, resilient way, offered a bottle of water with the gentlest "you doing okay?" and set down a neatly folded napkin, like it might be a bandage for something invisible. There was turbulence. Of course there was turbulence. Not the violent kind, not the sort that drops the stomach and rattles the teeth, but the conversational kind, a patch of air that jostled patience and knocked everyone's mood 2 inches to the left. Someone tried to wedge an oversized carry-on into the bin above Savannah's row, and the wheels jammed against a knotted strap. In the minor choreography of travel, it was a clumsy move. The stranger apologized, the bag resisted, and for a moment the aisle clogged with elbows and apologies. Savannah stood to help, reflexively polite, and when the bag finally slid into place with an exhausted thunk, a smattering of polite applause rose from the nearby rows. the kind of tiny, weary humor that only surfaces at 30,000 feet or in TSA. The internet would decide that applause meant drama. Applause meant spectacle. Applause meant something other than the simplest truth, that human beings stranded together in a metal tube will grasp at any communal ritual to pretend they're a tribe instead of a cross-section of strangers with wildly different playlists. Still, something had shifted. A man in a charcoal hoodie leaned across the aisle, as if the overhead vents had blown him that way, and said, "Hey, aren't you?" He didn't finish the sentence, perhaps because he realized the ending didn't matter. Savannah gave him the sort of smile that says, "I know what you're asking. I know you'll know if I say yes. I also know we both have nowhere else to be." The smile was polite. It was practiced. It was tired. The first leak, a text message screenshot posted to a private group chat, then forwarded into the wild. She looked stressed. Someone typed under a photo taken at knee level, the camera angled just enough to deny any comfort of dignity. Flight attendant super attentive. Something's up. The comment wasn't cruel. It was curious, which is sometimes worse. Curiosity dresses itself in innocence while taking notes for a zinger. Savannah tried to get lost in her phone, then in the cloud-white view beyond the oval window. The plane queued on the tarmac like a patient at a crowded clinic, everyone waiting for clearance, everyone waiting to be seen. She thumbed open an app and closed it again, because there are moments when even distraction feels like work. The denim jacket woman finally decided to bridge the gap, leaning forward with the soft courage of someone who's been rehearsing a line for 10 minutes. "I liked your podcast," the woman said. "The one about getting through. You know, hard things." Savannah blinked, the way you do when a glass of water is set before you and you hadn't realized you were thirsty. "Thank you," she said, and meant it. A small conversation unspooled, ordinary and humane. Travel plans, favorite snacks, the indignities of seat pitch. It was nothing, and it was everything. The second leak, an audio clip recorded in the stealthiest way by someone who should have known better. The clip captured a fragment of cabin noise, seatbelts clicking, a child asking for pretzels, and a half-sentence pulled from the middle of a private exchange. Trying to stay calm about it. A voice that could have been Savannah's said, soft and level. The internet inflated that half-sentence into a story balloon. Stay calm about what? A mechanical issue? A personal crisis? A confrontation with a passenger? Theories spawned like minnows in warm water. The third leak rode in on a caption. She got up. Twice. There was a video, naturally, because videos are the lingua franca of credulity. It showed Savannah walking toward the galley, then back, then forward again. In the video, her ponytail has the determined swing of a metronome. She stops to let someone pass, says something invisible to the camera, looks down and smiles at a toddler in dinosaur pajamas. The toddler, drunk on Cheerios and attention, beams back as though Savannah is a lighthouse. What the video didn't show, the tiny calculus done in Savannah's head. She told herself she'd breathe where the air seemed widest. She decided that moving would keep her from inventing disasters in the silent cinema of her thoughts. The galley felt like a cul-de-sac where she could turn around without any metaphorical traffic. The toddler felt like proof that joy travels without baggage. And then there was the moment, inevitable, almost theatrical, in which the seatbelt sign chimed on midair and pockets of the cabin sighed as one. Savannah was back in her seat by then, hands folded in a compromise between prayer and patience. The denim jacket woman reached across the aisle and half whispered, "One time I had a panic attack during turbulence. I imagined the plane as a bird. Silly, but it helped." Savannah nodded, as if the bird were perched right there on the tray table, feathers steadying in the invisible wind.